What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Vegas 77. We have Holly Holm going against Mara Buena Silva.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back talking some Draftkings this week, breaking down a 13-fight card in UFC Vegas 77. And yeah, it's kind of funny going from UFC 290, which was a phenomenal card, lots of finishes, probably the highest scores we've ever seen, and then going to, this card in UFC Vegas 77, which it is kind of tough in terms of, finding a lot of spots that stick out, not only from like a betting perspective, but from a DraftKings perspective as well. But we're going to try our best. Slates like these are always fun, kind of the under the radar, type of cards. I seem to do pretty good on these. So looking forward to hopefully making some money and of course enjoying some fights on a Saturday. Before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It's always much appreciated. Be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. There you'll find all the other content that you do not see on YouTube. You have the stats that you see Friday, Saturday, the targets, projections, lineup percentages. You got the prize picks on there, my DraftKings article, the lineup optimizer, just a ton of extra content on dfsbythenumbers.com. That is also the best way to support me, and you get a ton out of it as well. I do want to shout out the winner for the contest last week, the Bo Nickel contest. Got to do a contest every time Bo fights, apparently. But the second one, and the winner for this Bo Nickel contest was one Chris Austin, 48-45. Shout out to Chris here, and his prediction was 127.6, and the correct answer was 127.86. So he was 0.16 away there. So congrats, Chris. Hit me up if you have not already on Twitter or Instagram with your PayPal or Cash App. I'll get you your winnings there. But congrats to Chris. I'll be sure to do more contests in the very near future. Even in UFC 291, I'll probably do another one there. Lastly, if you guys have not signed up on Underdog Fantasy yet, use that promo code at DFSBTN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And I'll also go over my favorite Underdog Fantasy play later in the show there. Then also Prize Picks content's going to be dropping soon as well. Same promo code DFSBTN. Look out for the Prize Picks video where I'll break down my favorite spots sticking out on Prize Picks for Vegas 77. All right, guys, with all that out of the way, I say we get into these fight doesn't go to decision lines. Last week, all four on the screen went and finished inside the distance, and I think we might get another 4 for 4 here. We got Jack Della Maddalena going against Hafez, minus 550. And over minus 550, I see some book, minus 600 for this fight doesn't go to decision line here. And so we have Jack Della Maddalena, who is sitting at 9,700. And typically, I would look to maybe fade that price tag, but on this card, there's just not a lot of great plays that I really like, and Jack is definitely one of them. So he has a couple fights in the UFC. He's averaging 114.3. And if he gets 114.3 on this slate, that very well could be enough here. So very expensive price tag for Jack Della Maddalena, but I think he can go out there and probably get a first-round knockout. So Basil Hafez, 6,500, he's actually not bad, and he's someone where, Jack Della Maddalena, where does he kind of struggle with? And the answer to that is maybe the takedown defense, the submission defense. He's getting put into some really bad spots. He's able to get out of them. But Hafez, he's a black belt in BJJ. This guy can wrestle. He's training with really good guys. I don't think Hafez is some complete bum. There's a reason Jack Della Maddalena is only like minus 500 on the money line and not minus 1,000 like he was supposed to be last week. So Hafez actually might be able to pose some problems here. So I'll have some Hafez, but I fully expect Jack Della Maddalena to probably knock him out in the first round. So really good fight to target here to kick it off. This next fight is my favorite fight to target, though. We have Sadikov going against McKinney, and this is around minus 500 for the fight to not go to decision, which it could probably be even wider than that, and that's because it is a Terrence McKinney fight. Terrence McKinney has never seen the scorecards, and he's only been over 1.5 rounds only once in his career, and he's never been over 2.5 rounds. I think this fight finishes, and finishes pretty early here. Terrence McKinney is a guy that probably one of the most intriguing dogs on the slate this week. 7,500 for a guy that if he wins, He literally has like the 60-second bonus. And, last week we had like 3 or 4 fighters get the 60-second bonus. Terrence McKinney's one of those guys. Like if Terrence McKinney wins, it's probably going to be within the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The problem with Terrence McKinney is if this fight does get extended past a couple minutes, I have serious concerns. So I think it's McKinney early here. I think it's Sadikov late, but could also be early. But I think somebody's getting served here in this matchup. I think this fight scores very well, and it's a fight I'm going to be nearly 100% exposed to. Then we have another fight where I kind of feel the same way. I kind of feel like this next fight's finishing inside the distance, and that's going to be Prado versus Azaitar. And once again, I love these price tags. You got Prado 8,200, Azaitar 8,000. Both these guys are finishers. Azaitar has like a 92% finish rate. Prado, I think, has a 100% finish rate. Both these guys are super dangerous. They hit hard. They have no regards for any striking defense, especially Prado. I mean, this guy blocks punches with his face. He's super tough, but you don't want to do that against Ottman Azaitar. I think somebody's getting knocked out here, and probably in the first round. Like Azaitar has, I think, 3 or maybe 4 UFC fights, all of them ending not only inside the distance, but in the very first round. So I think somebody as well is getting served here, and at these price tags, it's a fight I'm going to be heavily invested in. And then finally, another really good fight to target, but a fight, where the price tags are a little confusing here. We have Evan Elder, and he is taking on Genaro Valdez. So Evan Elder's 9,400. I think that's pretty ridiculous. Genaro Valdez is 6,800. I think Elder probably wins the fight, but my goodness, Valdez, he's super dangerous, especially early on. This guy's tough. He can get dropped. He'll get right back up. He'll get in your face. This is going to be a war. This is going to be an all-out war, a war that I think does finish inside the distance. I think Valdez is going to have some early opportunities, but, I think Elder can definitely put it on him, especially down the stretch, eventually take him down, get on top, and probably pound him out at some point. So another fight where I think it does finish, another fight where I think the winner is going to score very, very highly here. Like I said, I think Elder wins, but 9,400 is a steep price tag. I think Valdez at 6,800 is a pump play I'll be looking at this week. But overall, a fight I love to target. All 4 of these fights I think are very good fights to target this week. Getting into our core plays, Jack Della Maddalena, we talked about him a little bit. Any other slate, I might look to get away from the 9,700 here, but there's just, like I said, there's not a ton sticking out. Up in this top range, we have Azat, Maxim, we have Evan Elder, who I do like, we have Dudakeva, who I do like, we have Bogdasarian, who I don't like, Mel Costa, I don't really like, Eileen Perez, I absolutely don't like. So there's not a ton up in this top range, and I think Jack Della Maddalena has knockout upside, has first round knockout upside, has knockdown upside. I think if he wins this fight, he probably does eclipse that 100, 110 even. And on this slate, I think that could be enough. And I think we will get some dogs to come through. I think there's a lot of dogs that do stick out. The dogs have been barking lately. So yeah, I think Jack has a solid chance to end up on the optimal lineup. For cash games, I think Jack is about as safe as a play you're going to get on this slate. So I think, yeah, I like Jack Della quite a bit. I'm going to try to get him in as many lineups as possible, but it's going to be kind of tough at that price tag. Holly Holm, 8,600. Not a fight I'm looking forward to from a fan perspective, but from a DraftKings perspective, sure. I mean, 8,600, it's not a ton, and, she has 5 rounds to work with here. I think this is a very, very good matchup for her, honestly. I mean, she's 41 years old. That's the only thing I don't really like, but Mara Bueno Silva, she's a very good grappler. She's very dangerous. The problem with Mara Bueno Silva has always been she doesn't attempt to get the fight down to the mat ever. It was her last fight, actually, against Lena Landsberg, where she landed her very first takedown in the UFC, and she's been fighting for a couple years. And Lena Landsberg, she has like a sub 50% takedown defense, so I don't really see her taking down Holly Holm. I think if Bueno Silva wins, it's because Holly Holm took the fight down to the mat and got armbarred. So I think Holly Holm can go out there, just style on Mara Bueno Silva across 5 rounds, especially when it gets late, put up a ton of volume, and across 5 rounds, I think that's going to add up, and she's going to put up a pretty big score. There is that one 5-round fight she had a couple fights ago against Irene Aldana, put on an absolute masterclass. She scored 132 against Irene Aldana. I could see something like that, honestly. I think this fight goes one of 2 ways. Either Holly Holm styles on Bueno Silva, makes her look like she don't belong, or Holly Holm gets armbarred in the first round. I think it goes one of 2 ways, and I think Holly Holm probably gets it done. Ottman Azaitar, 8,000. I think it's a great fight to target here. Don't have a strong lean towards Ottman Azaitar, but, this guy has a 92% finish rate. I think like maybe all but 1 or 2 of his wins come in the first round. He has a ton of power. Prado, like I said, he blocks punches with his face, and he's super tough, but my goodness. And the Otman Azaitar hits like a truck, so that's not a great strategy there. So I like the price tag at 8,000. Looks like the line's flipping. We now see Otman Azaitar on as a slight favorite on some books. I expect that trend to continue even. So yeah, Otman Azaitar 8,000, but don't get me wrong, I'll have my fair share of Prado as well. I think the winner scores very well here. Nazim Sadikov, 8,700. I'm picking Sadikov to win, but this is a fight where my exposure is going to be pretty even here. I think Terrence McKinney is one of the best dogs on the slate this week, and I think this is probably the best fight to target on the slate this week. This is going to be an absolute car crash like most Terrence McKinney fights are. I think Sadikov does weather the early storm and eventually finishes Terrence McKinney, but I'd be dumb to say Terrence McKinney doesn't have a chance, because he has a chance against pretty much everybody. So give me Sadikov here, but I will have just about the same amount of Terrence McKinney. Moving on to our GPP plays here, our tournament plays. Evan Elder, 9,400. I don't love the price tag, but another fight where I think it's going to be a war. I think it's going to be a car crash, and that's because it's a Valdez fight, and Valdez is a guy that typically gets after it. No regards to his own safety, no regards to any striking defense. Valdez, I really question the durability. This guy got dropped 4 times by Matt Favola, got hurt a couple times against Levy. Luckily for him, Levy's not dangerous at all, whereas Evan Elder, this guy is absolutely dangerous. So I think Evan Elder does win this fight. I think he can mix in takedowns as well. I don't think Valdez has good takedown defense at all, and I think Evan Elder can put up a big score. The only thing I don't like is the price tag, though. He's very expensive, but if he does win this fight, I think he could pay that off. Alexander Munoz, 8,300, kind of an under-the-radar type play here, but he's a guy that's going to wrestle, and he's going to wrestle a lot. He's going against Carl Deaton, who has solid takedown defense, but he can be taken down. And yeah, if Munoz wins this fight, I don't expect a finish at all, but if he wins this fight, expect, maybe 4, 5, 6 takedowns. He got 4 takedowns on the Contender Series, got like 4 takedowns against Luis Pena. And if he wins this fight, expect, like I said, 4, 5, 6 takedowns, and those are going to add up. So on a card where I don't think there's going to be a ton of finishes, I don't think we need, this guy Munoz to go out there and get a finish. So if you can go out there, get 5, 6, 7 takedowns, win a decision, I think that could be enough at this price tag. Victoria Dudakova, 9,300. Yeah, I like Dudakova here quite a bit. Another steep price tag, though, but she's going against Estela Nunez, who has about 1 round of cardio. I really question the ground game of Estela Nunez. We've seen her finish multiple times. We saw Horegi finish her via TKO on the mat. We saw Carnelossi sub her. She got subbed again outside the UFC. Dudakova, once she does get on top, she's a savage. She has really good grappling, some solid ground and pound. I think we see a Dudakova late finish here, 2nd, 3rd round. And then Francisco Prado, we talked about him a little bit, 8,200. This guy's an absolute finisher, 100% finish rate. Azaitar just got knocked out in his last fight. I think Prado actually has some sneaky wrestling upside here as well. But again, a fight where you want both sides. Either Azaitar knocks this guy out in the first round, or Prado knocks this guy out in the first round. I think somebody's getting served here early. All right, moving on to the favorite underdog play. Last week, we hit the Taira higher on the 1.5 takedowns. This week, we're going with Jung Young Park higher on 48.5 significant strikes. It seems very low for someone in Jung Young Park who averages about 5 significant strikes per minute for a fight that is favored to go the distance here, a fight that I do think is primarily going to play out on the feet. I think there'll be some takedowns here or there, but if this fight does go the full 15 minutes, I see no reason why Jung Young Park does not hit that higher on the 48.5 significant strikes. If you want to check that out, check out Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit bonus. Let's see if we can keep it rolling here. Next, we have the live dogs here. Terrence McKinney, 7,500. Probably one of the most popular dogs on the slate, and for very, very good reason. This guy is super dangerous. He can wrestle. He can knock you out. But the problem with McKinney is he has about a couple minutes to do it, which is fine. If he finishes this fight in a couple minutes, he's going to put up a massive score. So I'm going to have a ton of Terrence McKinney. I'm going to have a ton of this fight. I think he's very, very live, but only for a couple minutes. Tucker Lutz, 7,000. Yeah, Tucker Lutz, I mean, this guy can go out there and wrestle. I think if he wins this fight, expect a lot of takedowns, expect a lot of control time going against Melsik Bogdasarian, who is going to be the much better striker here. And even then, like Tucker Lutz can potentially have some success with the striking. I mean, Tucker Lutz throws a lot of volume out there, but I think it's going to be the wrestling that would potentially win him this fight and potentially score decently at 7K here. So I don't mind some Tucker Lutz at 7K for that wrestling upside. Genaro Valdez, we talked about him, a complete wild man, a madman. He's going to go out there. He's going to fight for your money. He's going to try to take off the head of Evan Alder. He's super cheap here. He's super dangerous. I don't mind some shots on Genaro Valdez. I don't think he's that great, but you know, he's super cheap here, and like I said, he's very dangerous. 100% finish rate, I believe, as well. Or very close to it, at least. Mara Bueno Silva, 7,600. I don't like this play, but hey, I mean, if she wins, it's probably a first-round armbar where Holly Holm takes her down and then gets armbarred shortly after that. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. When she's winning fights, it's more often than not, you know, an armbar from guard, and that's kind of her path to victory here. Which, hey, it could be on the table, but I don't think it's too likely. But if she wins, she probably gets a first-round armbar. So I'll have some just for that reason, but I think it's a good matchup for Holly Holm. Moving on to the pump plays, Estela Nunez, 6,900, going against Dudakova, who, like I said, I think wins the fight. I think Dudakova wins the fight. I think she wins by second, third round finish. But Estela Nunez is very dangerous early. She's very good early. She has power. We saw her drop Peregi a couple times in the first round. And Dudakova, if she's not able to get the takedowns and if she's forced to strike, it could look ugly. And Estela Nunez, if she wins, I kind of think it's a first round knockout, to be honest. But it's the cardio that really is troubling on the Nunez side. If this fight reaches the second round, I think she's done, especially if there's going to be a lot of grappling going on, which I think there will be. So Nunez, as weird as it sounds, I think she has first round upside. For that reason, I'll sprinkle some, but I fully expect Dudakova to go out there, take her down, and finish her late. And then fades Melsik Bagdasaryan. Actually pick him to win the fight, but hey, I mean, there's no takedown upside. He's gotten 0 takedowns in the UFC. I don't think there's finish upside either. I mean, I guess he could finish him, but I don't really think so. I think Tucker Lutz is tough enough to survive at least 3 rounds. I think this goes the distance. I think Melsik Bagdasaryan puts up a pretty poor score here. So yeah, going to be fading Melsik Bagdasaryan. He's my least favorite play up in that top range. Eileen Perez, another fighter I won't have much of, just too expensive for my liking this week. I think she wins, but my goodness, that's 8,800 is a little bit too much for me. All right, we did it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys can, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out dfsbythenumbers.com, check out Underdog Fantasy, use that promo code DFSBTN. Same thing with Prize Picks, and be on the lookout for that Prize Picks video. Best of luck for UFC Vegas 77. Enjoy the card. It should be an interesting one, to say the least, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.